Hey there, good morning. This is Gabriel Nekoshea, author of Tilt, Orion's Belts. Hopefully Operation Ignition is out the door by the time this goes live. I think it'll be the 15th, 16th, 17th, somewhere in that range. Today is the 6th, so in about 10 days, which really ain't that much time. But a lot can happen in one day, let alone 10. But it's been a minute since I actually recorded something. I stocked up a bunch, and I feel like I'm kind of missing the beat of the conversation in the community. Someone on Reddit, oh no, not Reddit! Someone on Reddit posted a question about battlecruisers. What's the best battlecruiser for an alpha? And the answer is whatever that alpha most enjoys flying, because every one of the battlecruisers has their own purpose. They're all effectively just cruisers with destroyers stapled on top and given a funny hat. They're not, in my opinion, battlecruisers are not worth the amount of risk associated with them. You can do some really cool things with a battlecruiser, like you can take a battlecruiser up into Tech 10, but it's real rough, man. It is so hard to survive. For example, I was testing faction warfare missions because that's the best ISK. The delivery missions are the best ISK per click, right? That's the best for any alpha to just farm ISK because you don't have to do anything to farm it. Zero risk, well, not zero, but like negligible risk, all reward, great. But the combat missions, those got me curious because they've got decent ISK, but they're difficult. They're all level 10. And as an alpha, your ships cap out at Tech 7, which means the top of the line is something like this. That is a Hurricane prototype. I call it Sleipnir. It's not a Sleipnir if you're an old EVE Online hand. It's not actually a Sleipnir, but Sleipnir is a cool character from mythology. It's the child of Loki, a horse with many legs. One of the signs of the apocalypse. Definitely not like we have that going on outside, right? But battlecruisers, it's kind of like you, and if you were flying a cruiser and you had a destroyer backing you up, that's about the capability that you get from a battlecruiser, which means you can tackle challenges way above what you'd expect if you're careful. And the moment you slip up and find yourself behind the 8-ball, you get a real slow, horrifying breakdown of whatever you were attempting to do. I like small ships because they tend to self-correct right quick. If you mess up in a frigate, you get 2 shots. You take 1 bullet to the chin, and it'll pull you into hull, and you get a moment to correct. You can bail, you can reorient yourself, you can stay the course and hope that whatever command you put in last that got you into that position is the right answer. But you're stuck. You're trapped. And then you're dead. It's boom, boom, done. Battlecruisers, no. No, you don't have that option. It's a slower, more drawn-out thing, which battleships and above are going to give you the same sort of effect, but they can do bigger, stronger numbers. Militarily, they are high risk, medium reward. And I say medium because relative to the risk, it really isn't worth it. Let me phrase it this way. I could spend $1 billion ISK fitting a very basic ship of the line. Just a battleship worth fielding solo. Could do Tech 10 content relatively easy. But the moment some jackwagon in Credit Cord Warrior frigate comes in and tackles me down, assuming they can catch me, which battleships are slow, and there's all sorts of options for sneaking up on folks, and it's just a matter of time. It's really just, ships were made for sinking. They're made for risking and expending. Nothing is expendable, but they're made for throwing out into the field and seeing what they can get away with. But the moment you lose that battleship, you lose so much in IP. I say as I sit atop my 20,000 IP pile, as if I don't have any to lose, but it's I view Omega life as spending money to feel strong. It's not the same as being strong. Now, battlecruisers are not as strong as battleships by a lot. There's actually a pretty significant capability gap between battleships and battlecruisers because of the option for large weapons. That's really the only huge difference. However, battlecruisers are pretty dang capable. Like when it comes to base busting, if you take a Cyclone and outfit it with rapid fire mediums, missiles, and you tune yourself for Tech 4 bases, you can optimize pretty well. And you make sure your armor and defenses match the enemy's damage outputs. You make sure your aggression matches their weaknesses. You can farm greens consistently and constantly and make a pretty steady, stable income with relatively low risk. Most would argue that battleships are lower risk. Those people don't like math. They like calculators. They don't like math. But the capability you get, like you can do the same thing for a lot cheaper with 2 different cruisers. You get a Caracal with long-range missiles, and you get a Caracal with rapid-fire mediums. You blap the big uns, and then you blap the little uns, or scratch that, reverse it, however it suits your pleasure. And you can do the same thing for half the cost tops. The question is time, really. With battlecruisers, they can do top-tier content, Tech 10 content. They can do faction warfare missions, but it's going to take forever. Those faction warfare missions have 6 waves, the one that I tried. I don't know about the rest. I'm still experimenting, and I don't like talking about stuff until I know it inside and out. Ish. Because even knowing, like even with the information, I will mess up. I want to give you guys the best information that I can. The best intel requires going and seeing and being there firsthand. So battlecruisers, they can do it. It's just slow. It's just slow. You can outfit them and get the top end gear for an alpha that's greens. It's still going to be slow because you're tacking on a pretty good amount of DPS to kind of speed things along. But it's the capabilities and the staying power, the survival, that really determines if you can do a thing. So 6 waves, I think it took me about, I want to say an hour and a half, 2 hours last night to do 2. And that was just the first 2. I assume those were easy compared to the rest. And I'm not going to, I might try it. I'm not the sanest person. I might try it, but I don't see the point or purpose when there are more efficient rates of income compared to expenditure. Because that's really all that the game is. How much are you willing to spend to bring back some more, to make ISK? How much ISK will you spend to make ISK? And at the lower levels, the rate of return is significantly higher than at the upper levels. And that's hard for folks to parse, because when I say rate of return, I don't mean the returns are higher. No, as an Omega pulling in 20 million, 30 million, 50 million ISK ticks, you're getting a lot in. But the expenditure required to get to that point, the money you have to put in, the time, it's so much higher. It's so not worth it. That could be food. That could be water. That could be energy. That could be something real. I love games. I very much do. To the point that, like, I'm spending a significant amount of time on these videos and on this gameplay and on exploring this procedurally generated emergent system And I want more people to play games because, like, they allow us to see not only interesting puzzles and systems, but parts of ourselves, like the play style. And they teach us how to interact with the world in more serious contexts. The peace that I gain just sitting there watching numbers tick and meditating and just being is so good compared to any other form of peace that I've encountered. Like, there's meditating out in the woods, which is nice, and it's exuberant when it actually hits and feels good. But it's not accessible here in Denver, and it's not accessible near the people that I care about and the folks that I love and I want to help and listen to. So that's kind of my Battlecruiser rant. Like, I like them. They're hard to make hit the battlefield consistently, because you're exposing. It's kind of like wrestling naked. You're running out there, you're streaking, and you're asking for, to get your cheeks slapped. You're asking for trouble. The moment you expose a Battlecruiser is the moment, like, you're ready to lose some IP. More IP than you would be equivalent earning. You're looking to take more damage than you can dish. So one of my favorite uses for Battlecruisers actually is similarly, to minimize the cost and risk associated, I like to throw a Cyclone out there naked with no rigs, minimal rigs, the cheapest rigs imaginable, if any, and torpedoes. Nothing. No armor, no tank, no scanning, nothing, no other modules, just torpedoes. Not even Mark 9s if I can afford it. If I find cheap Mark 7s on the market, throw them bitches on a Cyclone, park it outside of someone's player-owned station, and then just knock, see if they come to play. I've done that a couple times. There's definitely stations out there that are active and they'll come and play. Which cool. They get a Mark 9 or whatever for their efforts, and I get intel. Fair trade. But there's plenty out in nullsec that won't. They won't play. They're afraid, or they're not playing anymore. They've moved on to greener pastures, and Godspeed, Pilgrim. More power to them. But that's free fuel. If you want to put in the time, it's maybe an hour to grind out a shield and armor 2 days in a row, and then show up whenever their timer shows and see if they want to play. And sometimes they do. It's been 50-50. It really depends on where you go. If you go out into the boonies, into the wilds and depths and darkness, well beyond civilized space, out in Syndicate, where the resources are sparse compared to, well, maybe not Syndicate, but out. South especially, in the south, where logistics mean that their returns to Jita are significantly more taxing than yours would be as an interloper. Sending a suicide Cyclone out there, real fun, juicy. And it's not the kind of PvP that folks, ideally view as wham bam, thank you ma'am. They show up and they kill whatever target is presented with no tit for tat, no back and forth, no romance. They just come in and kill, and then they leave, taking whatever you had. Fine. Insurgents can play that way too. Assets are soft. Fire will always be easily accessible. Arson will always be cheaper than bombs. You can attack infrastructure and assets so much more easily than ships and fighters, shooters. Don't engage with shooters. Not unless, they're either wrestling, looking for a fair fight, or you're in the same tax bracket, which these days, them tax brackets are shrinking. Those folks at the very tippy top getting more and more unstable as those folks below them are falling off. That's the nature of the beast, too. These sort of zero-sum games, as they approach the conclusion, one person wins. Hooray! Fewer and fewer people want to play with that one person, whoever they may be. Same is true in EVE. Same is true in the game. So if you want to fly battlecruisers, I recommend getting a buddy. Grab a friend, as you can tackle the same sort of difficulty content that one person can if they swipe. And that's unexplored territory for me because my schedule is not really a schedule so much as a series of reactions. Really a desperate play for survival with brief interludes of conversation with you, dear viewer. So I hope you're doing well. And I look forward to talking more in the future. I might do a couple more videos about battlecruisers now that I got them on the mind, like the Hurricane prototype. I'll close out with like an extension of sort of my fitting philosophy. The same applies to cruisers though, so it's all about long-term sustain. I like accelerated damage, which if you'll notice 352 is not great. 500 is generally the minimum that PvPers look for. 352, Armor repair? That's very strange. Why armor repair? Well, sustain. I'm building for tankiness. I'm building for long-term survival and minimal cost. If I dip into my armor, I messed up. But that's okay. I've got repairs to kind of draw that out. And I've got the shield booster to sort of like buy myself some time. I've got the afterburner because getting tackled in a battlecruiser and pulled down is not fun. The damage control is to increase resistances for both that shield booster and to increase the sustain on the armor. Most folks would argue don't mix defenses, but that's because most folks don't consider price in their equations. They are looking for maximum effectiveness, and damned be the cost. I am looking for maximum utility considering the cost. Different play styles, different goals. And then I don't have any tackle because this isn't fit for pipe cleaning. I used to have scrams on here, webs, scrams, things like that. And I would go with friends and kill heavy interdictors, or the prey. Interdictors or heavy interdictors were the goal. It was fun back in the day. And then like, even the rigs are cheap, low quality, low tier. Those aren't even graded. Those are some of the free-to-play rigs that I got way back when I started and the game first came out. But yeah, that's my little Sleipnir. I think the next one... Oh, one last thing. In all things, roll your own. It's cheaper. I think the next build I'm going to push for is a Myrmidon. Just because I like the idea of drones, and they're kind of unloved being PvP focused without PvP enemies to deal with. The increased drone HP is a wasted stat, and for an alpha, like, those stats are less important than the utility and capability presented by the ship itself. I ain't looking to optimize effectiveness, I'm looking to optimize operations. And that's, I think that's enough for the moment. Alright, thanks again. I hope you have a good day. Bye.